Hey everyone, hope you all had a great weekend. Thanks for joining me on November 6th. And as always, we are not financial advisors, and everything you see on here is for educational purposes only. Alright, let's get started with BTC. And so far, it's been playing out nicely. Not following it perfect, but still, we're just going sideways. So we've been going sideways for a little upward trend, but still overall like sideways movement for about 12 days, so 2 weeks. And as you can see, we still have quite a bit to go, right? Almost like another like 3 months or so. But what's interesting here is we didn't have our top and bottom here, so that didn't play out as I wanted it to be. But still, like the fact it played out and dropped right back down to where it's supposed to be, it still kind of locks in the pattern. What we want to look for here now is maybe a push to the top again before making a push back down. And we already know we have to come back down because we have that second arrow target at 34,120. And something I mentioned when we were way back over here, when we were first starting out, I mentioned we don't want to really take profits on any alts because they can continue to keep pumping, which some of them are still pumping, which is good, until we reach this point here. Because after that, that's when it starts to see more of a downtrend, and this is where, like I said, a lot of our alts, in our previous video, have a bunch of bearish targets. So this is when we can actually come back down and hit those targets. So this is where you want to start thinking about maybe taking profits. For those that want to take profit, everybody who already knows me knows I'm hollowing hodling through all this because I know kind of like the end game. I'd rather not have to worry about that, and I want to make sure all of my coins have that 1 year long term tax bracket where I only have to pay 20% instead of like paying 40%. So for me, there's really no point to get out and just to earn a little bit more coins. So again, if you want to, there's some people in the group that, are in a country where they don't have to pay that. So they can get in and out. So, they can get out, make about 15, 20% of their coins back. Kind of like how we did with Vera, for those that remember. Oh, I took it out. We talked about with Vera, this was the top, and these are the 2 points you would want to take profit at. So area one, and I talked about how like, hey, if you get back in now from taking your profit, you would have like 30% more Vera. So scenarios like this can play out again, and that would be once we get to that point of this peak here. So we want to make kind of like a U shape here. So we go up a little more, we can go up a little more, or we can just drop down and knock out our 120. But once it peaks back up again, this is where you want to start taking profit before it dumps back down, and we can see all of our bearish targets hit again. Let's see. So I'm gonna remove these, and then when we look at the dollar actually had a big drop over the weekend, not the weekend, but Friday. So on Friday night, I talked about, hey, since this thing dropped so much, people are going to continue to look at it, and the alts should do really good. And as you can see, a lot of the alts did really good. Like, for example, XRP, look at a really big punch the last 2 days. HBAR, not so much. Rhodes is doing okay. So, going back to the dollar. So, we do know there's a gap here. So, the dollar does have to come back up. So, come back up to around 106. 62. So all this is going to be just a delay. So this will have to come back up to this price here. So once it's done dropping, it will come right back up. And when it comes back up, that will line up when Bitcoin has to probably come back down. So we'll probably go up a little bit, drop down, come back up, and then slowly start to push back down on that. For web AI, a few days ago when we were all the way over here, I talked about like we don't want to buy when it's up. We want to buy when it comes back down. I drew this trend line here, and look how perfect it hit. Came down perfectly to that. So you have to be careful with some of these coins, even though they have like good, I guess utility in a sense, where you can get like these bonus, like you can do staking plus these bonus rewards. You still have to be careful because again, these things could easily crash back down. If it gets below this trend line, this thing will be in a really bad spot. Oh, I'm trying to delete this up here. Okay, you got to make sure this does not get below this, because if it does, it'll dump all the way back down to this area. Back down to this area. Probably make it a little bigger. Well, yeah, we'll say this area here. If we drop below, and that would be If we drop below, that would be another like 44%. So we have to be very cautious. But this is one of those spots where it's like, hey, you can buy here, because then from here, it could also take off, right? Because it can start building this nice little like channel on the way here. So if I do something like this, this could pump all the way up maybe to this side, which will be about $1.81. So from where it's at, that's 168%. So now the thing with these little coins, because there's like not enough data, I can't use my count system on it, so I can't give you like 100%. This is just more of me like based off my experience. It's just, you know, things staying in the trend lines and stuff. I feel like I'm losing my voice. Oh yeah, going back to Bitcoin real quick. On the 4 hours, we finally touched the bottom. Well, we touched the bottom down back here. We touched the top, came back down to the bottom. Right now, we can hit either route. We could go up to 35,686, or we could drop back down to like 34,275. Same thing on the hourly. We touched the bottom. We didn't touch the top though, but we can touch the bottom again or top. So right now, like when it comes to the channel, it's in limbo. It can go either way. If we touch the bottom again though, that would be the bottom twice. So we know we have to come back up. If we touch the top, it'll still be in limbo because it can still go either way. And that goes for the $4 as well. So it's not telling us much. Or at least it's letting us know like it's just sideways noise, which again, here, that's all we see. We do want to see either another push back up before coming back down, but we could also come back down to knock out that 34,120 and then head back up. And again, when we head back up, you know, you want to take your profits because a lot of these alts are pumped. Oh, you know what? I will touch up on two alts because someone did request them. So ADA, I do have ADA on the second arrow target. So ADA has to come back down to 0.27. It was ADA and what else? ADA and VET. VET is interesting. VET shows it has to come all the way back down to 0.01621. So some of these coins have some kind of ridiculous numbers, but at the same time, dropping back down 20% is not a lot. It's done it before. What's funny with VET is actually it played out on a little pattern thing. Played out almost like perfectly, except for like the last part. Remember the last part? It's usually 50-50, but lately it's been going the opposite way. So I forgot to keep an eye on it because that would have told us, hey, it's going to pump back up. But everything else, the little pattern of it, played out nice. And this was a time where, you know, it was still like here. Like we didn't have anything else on here. So we knew like, hey, this is going to come back down. Put this back like a 3x, you know, so it like starts to follow that pattern nicely. So, and then from here, this would have been the sign of like, okay, cool. Instead of doing that like drop it shows here, it would have pumped back up. So we'll remove that, close this out. And again, looks like it could be, what's interesting is the fact that it has to get back almost all of its gains. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see. That could be if, you know, if we play this out where we come right back down to this bottom trend line, you know, you're talking about Bitcoin having to drop back down 14%. And when Bitcoin drops, the alts do at least double or even triple what Bitcoin drops. So Bitcoin's going to drop almost 15%. That means everybody else has to drop back down 30%. And that will fall in line with all the other targets that we have. So again, it's going to be pretty interesting. I mean, it's going to be slow for a little bit, but it will get pretty interesting because at least we know where these coins can reverse to and where we can start buying. Because again, we don't buy whenever if something is peaked. And this is another good example of why. Because it's now, you know, 36% cheaper for whoever wants to get into it now. And I'll make a separate video about this because there's a good chance I might get into this. So we'll see where this candle closes. Because again, if it drops below, I'm not touching it. All right, I'm going to see everybody on the next update or in the Discord. Now, if you're trying to get more information on the market, if you want to stay up to date with the market or just looking for a good community, in the description below, I did post my link to my website, which is tindicator.com. In here, you can find a link to Ko-fi or Patreon, which will give you access to the premium side of this channel and group. So I have two levels. I have that really stand out. You know, I have the peace of mind and I have the edge. And the reason I named these names is because it's kind of what you get out of it, right? On the peace of mind, you do get peace of mind when it comes to the market. You know, you're not going to be surprised. You're not going to be shocked with what's going on. Just the other day, I sent out an alert on a signal talking about, hey, the market looks like it's gonna dump. Somebody like triggered something that kind of lets me know, hey, there's gonna be a big drop. And 15 minutes later, big old drop happened. And then the same thing happened back over here. So nobody in the room's like, oh, surprise, oh, we dropped back down, right? And this is why I call it peace of mind, because you do get that peace of mind out of it. Then I have the edge tier, which the reason I call it edge, because you get the edge on the market, right? You're not just going to be blindly going into the market and not knowing what's going to happen. And I'm going to go over these tiers right now. So with the, sorry, I almost said edge, but with the peace of mind, you get access to the crypto room here. Edge also includes this, but you just get a little more. So you get access to market updates. We have our general chat. We have our crypto chat where everybody talks about what's going on. We have daily play. This is where I post all of my stuff. So my stuff won't get buried in a chat room where no one can see it. For the edge tier, you actually get access to the Zoom scheduler. So you can actually schedule one-on-one Zooms with me so we can go over your portfolio, certain coins you're interested in and you just weren't sure about it. Some people have had issues with their wallets. I help them recover that. I've had people who just want to vent. Sometimes we just talk about certain things and, it helps them calm with the market, so they're not too upset with what's going on. Maybe they got into a meme coin that's down 95% or anything like that. So it's really cool, and a lot of my members love this. We also have the newsroom where we post newsworthy information. Planned orders is where you can see what people are buying or selling. We have our group Zooms every now and then. Hidden gems room where people post unique coins that are just coming out. Passive income room for staking and all that stuff. We have a marketplace where people are buying and selling from each other. Tips and links in here, so there's a lot of links for like good cool YouTube videos that you can watch about stop losses, technical analysis. In here's where I always put the newest signal link, and the signal link is one thing I recommend for everybody, because this is where I'll send you emergency alerts. Like if I see the market's about to dump, I will send a message here that's separate from all your other messaging apps, so that way because a lot of people like to keep everything else muted, because sometimes people are posting too much, and this is the one that you can leave on, and this will let you know like, hey, this is emergency, like, hey, we're about to pump, we're about to dump, or hey, something big is going to happen. Then we have charts where you can actually see what people are requesting. If you're on the edge tier, you're allowed to actually request. If you are on the peace of mind, you can only view what other people are requesting, but here you can actually request all the coins you want to see. So I post them here, corresponding to the alphabet. And some of these would be like this. Someone talked about one. Well, now you know that one has to drop back down to 0.013. So if you were looking to buy this coin, I would suggest waiting until it drops to that price before getting in. Because you don't want to get in and it's going to drop back down to this price. And now you would have wished you held off. So you get that advantage, you get that edge right off the market, because now you know when to get in and when not to get in. Another one that we were talking about, and I actually need to do a separate video on this because I didn't add it to the main video, but down here I mentioned, hey, so a member actually showed us this coin, and down here I mentioned, hey, you know what, this thing's about to take off, and it did take off. Once we were up here to this area, I was like, hey, you know what, this could probably be the top, and I drew this area here where we can drop back down to, and look, we barely missed it before it came back up. Now I'm going to update them on this shortly. And then down here we have, a place for woo-woo in case you're into conspiracy stuff or anything like that. We have a astrology room. We have a spiritual room. And then we have two other rooms right here. These are our little kept secrets. We won't go into too much. We also have a free trading room. So if you know anybody that actually is into trading, also the link is in the description below. If you're on the edge tier, you actually get an additional room where it gives you additional coins instead of just the free ones. But yep, that kind of breaks down my two levels of the premium. So again, if you want to stay up to date, I suggest joining us. We have a really good community. Everybody helps everybody out here. Nobody FOMOs, nobody's upset, nobody, is shocked by what's going on with the market. I've had members even tell me, like, sometimes it's kind of boring because we already know what's going to happen, right? There's not that like feeling of like not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow, right? It's like, oh, what's going to happen? Is it going to go up? It's going to go down? We kind of already know what's going to go, like, right? And if we know we're going to drop and it goes up, we know it's going to come right back down. So if you made it this long, thank you for staying this long, and maybe I hope to see you in the room.